Welcome to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the longest-running Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
We're always in control, and when you say Miami, you're talking to my ball. 'Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Tuesday, January the 20th. I'm your host, Michael Leva, joined as I am each and every Tuesday by Josh Moser from WSVN 7, South Florida's #1 news channel. Yes. Josh, how you doing?
Tired.
You're tired. Late night last night with that Hurricanes game.
Oh, 4 a.m. But
wow,
we're here.
Yeah.
We're here.
And,
loving it.
Yeah.
On the Dolphin season.
We back to the Dolphins now.
Really,
Hurricanes are over. Back to the Dolphins.
Oh,
and there's a lot to talk about with the Dolphins. Obviously, a very busy week. And it's only Tuesday. Pretty much a very busy few weeks as they hired a head coach. We're going to talk about that and what this means going forward and some of the stuff that's sort of been out there around Jeff Hafley. But first, as always, this show is brought to you by Caneswear. Everyone go to caneswear.com for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins and, of course, Miami Hurricanes apparel on the internet. You need a hat, hoodie, something for your car, something for the office, a jersey of any kind, caneswear.com, caneswear.com, caneswear.com. They'll have you covered. They also have stuff for the Florida Panthers, the Miami Heat, the Miami Marlins. So go to caneswear.com. Also, a shout out to everyone watching us live at the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook page run by the great Carlos Hernandez. And if you're watching us on YouTube Live, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And yes, our super chats are open. Send us a super chat. We will read it on the air between now and the end of the show. It could be a question. It could be a comment. You can say that you like the hire of Jeff Hafley. You can say that you hate the hire of Jeff Hafley. Either way, we're going to read it on the air. So send in those super chats. All right. Jeff, so just before people start, for those who might not know, Josh, you worked in Green Bay prior to coming to Miami. You know a lot of these names. You know a lot of these people. Not that you might not know Hafley, because I think he got there after you might have left.
Yeah,
but in general, he was there?
Was not.
Okay. Oh, he was not there. Okay. But you know that mindset, that Packer philosophy and all that stuff. So my first question is, now that it's official, we got a Packer GM, we got a Packer head coach in place. What are your thoughts on what this means for the Dolphins moving forward?
The word that comes to mind is continuity. You have two individuals that have worked together that want to build something together. And that's something that this Dolphins franchise has been missing for 20 years, because when there's been a head coach or GM exit, it's always been one or the other. It's never been the both at the same time. And we've talked at length about this, where you just need to start over, clean, fresh, and continue to do a rebuild. What I'm reading between the lines and from some of the people that I've talked to, Hafley's on a 5-year deal. So that means we're looking at a full rebuild. That means they're going to give him the time to go through a full cycle of draft picks and to really try to build this thing their way. John Eric Sullivan has been primarily a scout, and this is going to be his first general manager position. But we heard him speak, and you and I kind of had this conversation about speed versus size and how is he going to construct this roster. And I love going back to continuity, that both he and Jeff Hafley are on the same page. The two big knocks on the Dolphins is they can't win in cold weather games and they can't beat above 500 teams. So what's the bottom line? It's strength and size in the trenches, strength inside of the players at the skill positions, and then toughness. Dolphins have been called soft, and that has been the approach of these two, knowing how Green Bay has been built. Now, you could argue that their defense has been called soft in a couple of years. Rasul Douglas kind of mentioned a little bit about it, where a couple of the guys he felt weren't headhunting as much as they should have been. But it's also kind of Rasul's personality. He'd be an interesting name to watch as we move into this next cycle as well. But right now, it seems like they have an idea of what they want to do. It's just a question of, can they execute it?
Yeah, and that line from that interview with Travis Wingfield of the Miami Dolphins was, fast gets slow, big won't get small. And that's like, it almost brought a tear to my eye. I'm like, this guy gets it. He gets it. I mean, for Miami, I think in this league, it's not even just for Miami now. If you want to be able to win on the road, you have to have a team that can travel, meaning big, physical, run the ball, play in the elements. In Miami, yes, having the fast guys, the speed, Miami Vice type stuff, yeah, it's cool. But then when you go up there and play the Bills, play the Patriots, play the Ravens, we get our doors blown off because they're just pushing us around. And you got to build a cold. You even go back to the 70s. I know it was a different era. I know. But it was Zonka running the ball down people's throats. It was power football, which I know there was a lot of that in that era. But they did it better than anybody because that's what travels in this league. And that's what they have to build. And I spoke to a Packers reporter / podcast host this morning. I did an interview here. Check it out. Peter Bukowski. He was like, they just draft big guys. Look at what the Packers have done the past however many years. It's a lot of big guys. It's a lot of size. So I think that's kind of what we're in for as a fan of the Dolphins. We're going to, build up the trenches a little bit with more size. And as he said, it's not just size over speed. It's guys who are athletic, who can be multiple, which every person says who's a general manager or whatever. But that's really the truth in this league. You got to have a little size. And I think that's what we're in store for. It's going to be a philosophy shift that we've been accustomed to with Chris Greer all these years, where it's like, I just give the head coach what he wants. Yay. It's like, no, I'm the GM. I make the decisions. Here's what we're going to do. Here's our philosophy. Here's our core principles. And we're going to stick to this. And that's very refreshing to hear. Will it work? I don't know. But it's a new approach, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah, but you pair it with Hafley,
yes,
who is of the same mindset. And I understand everyone saying, hey, there's sexier names out there. But Hafley was a head coach. I granted it was the college level at Boston College. How do you build a team at Boston College? Well, now it's different because the NIL era, which is really why Hafley left, because he's like, look, I don't have the money. I can't compete with these schools. We just can't win here. And then let me go be a DC and, oh, by the way, lead the Packers to a top 10 defensive rating in back-to-back years. But I know how to be a head coach, and that's be everybody's knock. And remember, these kids are getting younger. So I think having a head coach that can relate to the players, I know Mike McDaniel is a true players coach, but they can deal with some of these younger players and understand what it's like coming out of college. I think that's actually an advantage versus bringing in someone that is much older when you have to do a complete rebuild. Sean McDermott would be, a name to talk about where he built that and he knows what that is. That's established. But we're talking about you're throwing the playbook out. You're throwing everything out. You've just got the building and you're coming in clean slate. And you've got the best building, according to the Players Association, in the NFL, your A+ rating. So I'm curious to see what they do. Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Packers, who is John Eric's kind of mentor, if you will, someone that he's worked behind for years. I've talked to him multiple times. I think I've said it on the show. The hardest position and people to find in the NFL are big guys that can move. And the Packers have a specific system, we'll call it, of finding that type of player. David Bakhtiari is a name that comes to mind. Picked him out of the 4th round of Colorado. Nobody knew who he was. John Eric knows how to do that now. And the other thing is their philosophy comes a lot from the old 2000s Ravens defense, where you're looking for tall, rangy linebackers and defensive backs that are not your traditional players, because that size, on the offensive side, you could call it a catch radius. It's the opposite on the defensive
break up side. The catches. Yeah.
So like you look at Kyle Hamilton and what he's built. You've got Gonzalez, who was the 1st round pick, who's been a star for the Patriots when he's healthy. So they're going to look for those types of players. And we brought up Rasul Douglas earlier. Like he's that rangier type of guy that doesn't have necessarily the speed, but because of that extra size, Miami fans, Jacoby Thomas would be somebody like that oversized safety where you're 6'3", long arms, you're 220 instead of 205. That's kind of what they're going to be looking for. But again, as they build this thing where I know Halfley and John Eric are like true football people, they've got to find personalities that mesh. And, we've talked about this too. It's, can you find like-minded people, and can you go to war with these people, and are they going to sacrifice? And that's a huge piece of this. You could have the most talented roster in the league, but if the players do not want to play for each other and they're there for a paycheck, you run into problems.
And that's what John Eric Sullivan stressed a lot when he spoke to Travis Wingfield was, we don't want mercenaries. We don't want a team full of mercenaries where we're signing guys from this team and that team because their standard isn't our standard. Then you got a team filled with guys with all different standards, and we want to draft, develop. And here's the key word that Chris Greer never understood: retain. Retain those guys because you groom them, and then they know your standard, and they're bought in to what you're trying to do. So the draft. Here's what I think many fans of Dolphins need to understand: the days of Chris Greer, first week of free agency, maybe not the past year or so because they had no money because he spent it all. Miami going nuts, shopping spree. They be in the mix. Their first 5 hours signing guys. I think those days are kind of over. Might happen here or there, but I think for the most part they're gonna go in the draft. He's got 5 picks now in the top 90. I think after the losses last week with the teams in the playoffs, they got 5 top 90 picks. And I think he's going to sit tight with 5 and take 5 good players there and be like, that's year 1, let's roll. And then they're going to probably do the same thing the following year. I think it's going to be more heavily focused on the draft, which is more of a slow burn. It's not going to be, let's go out there and
5-year deal.
Trade for the 5-year deal. I don't think it's going to take 5 years to turn around because we've seen in this league, 2 to 3 years you can turn it around. Now, this situation is a mess, Miami. It's not the same situation with the Broncos. It's not even the same one with the Patriots. This is more of a mess. But I think, 2027, this should hopefully be a team at or around 500, maybe a little better. 2028, you should be competing for a playoff spot. I think next year is going to be rough. And I think most reasonable level-headed fans understand that. Next year might be a little rough, but 2027 might be a little better. 2028, you should be off and running for at least playoffs and hopefully sneak in or something. I think that's where we are. It's going to come down to how well they draft, how well they develop with the staff. So there's that. We have to talk quarterback. Because Jeremy Fowler already put it out there today. The guy I spoke to this morning from the Packers, he goes, Malik Willis, I think, look, if I had to bet a buck, he's going to be here sometime in March when free agency starts. Now, I know there's some fans out there, we can't afford him. Folks, this is Malik Willis. It's not Peyton Manning. Okay, I don't know how much you think he's getting paid. We can afford to move some money around to pay a guy on a 2-year deal like Justin Fields got last year, which is probably what his market's going to be, like a Justin Fields type deal. And if you're Willis, you're probably going to be more comfortable going to a spot with people rather than going to, say, the Jets or something like that. So I think Willis, is it a sure thing? No. Is it very likely? I'd probably say yes.
Yeah. I mean, he was really good when Jordan Love got hurt. And, the term that we've been using for the last year or so, a bridge quarterback.
And that's what he is.
And that's what he is. And fans saying, what are you going to do with Tua? For me, open up the competition. We understand that Zach Wilson is not going to be here.
Josh, he's not going to be here. He ain't going to be here.
So you're saying he's not even going to be here?
He ain't going to be on the roster. They don't want him here.
You're taking June before June 1st?
I don't know if it's before or after. Honestly, I don't care at this point. He's gone. They're not going to have him moping around for a full year on the sideline with the boot. He's got 2 coaches fired. These guys aren't going to let them get him fired. Bye-bye. He's gone. I don't know how it's going to happen. He's gone.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's the big question. And we have an introductory press conference at 11 a.m. on Thursday. So I'm sure that will be a question that is asked.
It should be one of the first questions asked, honestly.
Yes.
What's the plan with Tua? And I'm sure they won't say anything, but
we're going to weigh our.
We're going to evaluate the situation.
Yeah,
we're going to see our.
Look, right now we're focused on building our personnel department, the Senior Bowl. We got the Combine.
If they can buy down the contract and trade him a little bit, great. Get a 6th-round pick, 7th-round pick, get nothing good, but just to unload them that way, great. But I don't know what they said. I guarantee you, John Eric Sullivan, he had to be asked this in his interview. He gave an answer that had to be acceptable, or else they wouldn't have done it. He had to be like, look, here's what we're doing. If you hire me, Here's how we're getting rid of him. I'll try to trade him maybe. If not, we'll do it. Whatever. Post June 1st. Take half now. Take the rest later.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll be fine.
And you've got Brandon Shore, who's been here.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's got a plan too.
Yeah. So, we'll see with Malik. I mean, obviously Quinn Ewers is going to be on the roster. There's no reason not to move him. You've got him for a couple of years, and he's cheap. And look, I would be surprised if Miami drafts a quarterback. The question is, how high are they going to do it? And to me, there are so many holes on this team that unless there's someone that you absolutely love, there's no reason to do it in the first 100 picks.
If you sign Willis, there's no reason to do it in top 1 because then you got him and you got Quinn. You're kind of all set for at least a year. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, we'll see what happens. The real question is, who is this team gonna tab as an OC? And it's also a hard position because this OC that would be interviewing is like, well, who the hell do I have on this team? Like, what are my pieces? And you've basically got, on my fingers that I'm counting, 5 that I can think of on offense that that are going to be sticking around. And I mean, that's half the roster on the offense. So of the starters. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this thing transpires. And so we got some time.
Yeah. For the staff, it could be someone from the Packers. I know the Packers' current offensive coordinator, he doesn't call plays. So some think he would maybe leave there if he can call plays here. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. The name to watch, who I think is the clubhouse leader, is the current Cowboys quarterbacks coach, Steve Shimko, because he was the quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator for Jeff Hafley at Boston College. And now he's just a quarterbacks coach with the Cowboys. So that's a clear upgrade for him. He can be reunited with Hafley, call plays. And I guess I'm not going to say I'm an expert on this guy. I'm not, but from what I've read and stuff online, I've seen he's one of those, fast up and rising NFL types that people think very highly of. I wouldn't be shocked if Steve Shimko is the offensive coordinator in Miami, but that's far from a sure thing. I would say that's the clubhouse leader at this time, only because of his ties with Hafley from Boston College. Also on the other side for coordinator, I don't know if Hafley will call the plays or not, but the two names are the linebacker coach for Jacksonville, Tim Lebuku or something. I think it's Tem Lebuku. He was also a coach with Hafley at Boston College, and also the current Packers linebackers coach, Sean Dugan, who was the coordinator with Hafley at Boston College. I think those are likely names to keep an eye on. Of course, it could be someone else. Who knows? Hey, Joe Brady, if you don't get a head coaching job, want to come back home and call plays? I don't think they'd be against that either.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the other question that I have is, if you have the opportunity to retain Anthony Weaver, what do you do?
He runs a similar style to Hafley.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's the Rooney rule or not, being honest with you, but,
Getting a lot of interviews. Getting a lot of second interviews, too. Not just first, second. So I think he might be in play here. I don't know what's going to happen. I think sounds like Pittsburgh is like Flores or McCarthy, and I'd be shocked if it's Flores, honestly. Unless Mike Tomlin makes that call. Because I think the league's just not going to want him being a head coach with the lawsuit and stuff. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. It is Pittsburgh. They might be like, since it's Pittsburgh, it's fine. The Ravens, Sean McDermott, if he wants to coach, I just think that's just a perfect match. But they might go Weaver. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just what McDermott wants to do, and how much control of the roster does he want, and how much are they willing to give him? I don't know. I think depending on how this NFC Championship game shakes out, we were talking about Kubiak as a name. That's
hurt by his team winning, because he'd have a job, I think, if his team.
I think so
winning.
Too. Interesting enough, Mike McDaniel pulled his name out of the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland job, I know.
So that's kind of an interesting nugget. My pick for the Dolphins was Robert Saleh, and
you might end up there with him.
McDaniel, and I think that you could see a possibility of him reuniting in Nashville. Great city.
That's a perfect spot for him, honestly. You got a young quarterback there. If he does well with Ward next year, this time he will get a head coaching job, probably McDaniel. So just go there for a year, make that offense as great as you can with Cam Ward, which I think has a lot of upside. I'm not sold on Ward being like a top quarterback, but he came on as last year went on, and I thought he played really well late in the year. So if he can sort of keep that momentum going with him. I think next year, this time, he'll get a job. I don't see the Raiders hire. I mean, look, the Lions met with him and they actually said, just not a fit with Dan Campbell. I'm like, man, he's too weird for Dan Campbell, wants to bite kneecaps. I mean, I would love to see that interview with Mike McDaniel and Dan Campbell talking about a job.
I mean, that sounds like a great Hard Knocks episode.
Oh, it's like the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
Yeah, McDaniel, I wish we could pull it up. I gotta talk to him. His suit game in the airport, like
I saw the one.
Could you be like more conspicuous? Like, and I gotta teach.
But that's him. That's one thing I never had a problem. Look, there was a lot of things I had a problem with him, but they were mainly on the field football related. Personality wise, like that's who he is. I got no problem him being true to himself in that way. But it was time to go in Miami, obviously. But it was like that. I saw that one interview he got caught like in some airport going to Nashville or something. The suit was it was loud. Let's just say it was a lot. Not what you're wearing right now for those watching on YouTube. It was very loud. We'll see. But I think for Miami staff, and that was the other thing this morning when I spoke to that Packers insider and stuff. He goes, the one thing Hafley has been very good at, even with the Packers, is finding coaching talent. You look at his time in college. Many people say, oh, they were terrible. But Boston, trying to win at Boston College is impossible, number one. And the amount of young coaches he had there that are now all in the NFL in kind of prominent roles is kind of astounding. He found those guys. We did with the Packers. Some of the guys he found there who've gone on to other jobs or who are now going to be elevated maybe there. It's like he's got a big Rolodex, which is a totally outdated term. He's got a big Rolodex where it's like putting together a staff for him shouldn't be an issue, and it should be a pretty good staff because he's got a lot of connections from his time in Cleveland, time in Tampa, time in San Francisco, time with the Packers, now with here. So I'm cautiously optimistic, Josh, as we enter this new era. I'm very cautiously optimistic. And you know me, I will poop on anything I see that looks bad. I don't want to poop on anything right now. I think this might look, it's going to be a slow burn. It's not going to be a quick fix. I'm optimistic with what they're doing and the new approach.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that I would love to see is just transparency. And we really talk to Chris Greer, I don't know what, twice a year, 3 times a year.
You go to the combine. He's the one GM who wouldn't talk to the press. He's like running high. Like, dude, you're at the combine. What are they going to ask you? It's like,
I'm not trying to put him on blast. However, Thursday is your introductory press conference for your new general manager and your new head coach. This is a new era of football, and there's a notable name missing. And to me, Stephen Ross should be there to answer questions, and he's not going to be there to introduce them. And
oh my God, that's wrong.
I do not know if he will be. It was not said that he will, but you want to talk about a united front. I mean, look, you have the Ravens owner who, is basically
Steve Biscotti,
I don't want to be in the lights. Like, it's all them. But this is a change, and you need front office ownership support. We talk about ownership to front office to coach alignment. This would be a great way to do it the right way, present a united front. And even if it's Tom Garfinkel, even if it's the son-in-law, like whatever, like I would love someone that was part of the process to talk about this. But
I wonder if Troy will be there.
I doubt it, but that would be great.
So? He should be.
I mean,
Who's involved in this process?
Troy was at the game last night. Hafley was at the game last night.
Yeah. So are all the Raiders on the Indiana sideline. They should just put on red hats. I mean, they're all root for Mendoza.
I mean, yeah, you had Brady with Al Davis, allegedly holding coaches meetings. I did not see Mike McDaniel. But yeah, I mean, it seems like, Fernando Moneyman Mendoza is, he seems like he'll be an Oakland Raider. And, he and Tom Brady can open up a hedge fund and, life is good.
I like that kid a lot. I like the fact he's a little bit nerdy when he speaks a little bit. He's a little nerdy. He's not your typical trained, polished athlete that even we see now in college, so to speak. He wears his heart on his. There's something about it. I just love
authentic.
He's very authentic. He is who he is. He's not afraid. He's not ashamed of it. He doesn't hide it. He gets that little high, quick voice when he talks. It's like, I love everything about that kid. It sucks he's going to go to a team I'm really not going to root for. But I am happy for him. And that 4th and 5 run last night, unbelievable. Unbelievable, that 4th and 5 play.
I mean, talk about a shining moment to cap off. Yeah. So, fun fact, I love film because I'm a football weirdo. That play was run for the tying touchdown in the opener with Notre Dame. Designed.
Oh, really?
And it played out perfectly. And if you go back and you watch that play, Indiana sees the defense. They call a timeout. Cignetti dials up that play. I've seen it. This is the same defense that they were running against Notre Dame. Mendoza, you've got this. You can do this. And Miami comes out in the same defense, roll the dice instead of kicking the field goal, and it works. Cignetti, in my opinion, outcoached Mario Cristobal. It's not that Mario Cristobal didn't do anything wrong.
Cignetti's good, though. Yeah, he's a good coach.
Outcoached him in that moment. And that was the moment they got 6 instead of the 3, and they converted. That was the moment to me of the game. And yeah, kudos to Fernando. He's been awesome to deal with and obviously has an incredibly bright future ahead. And I mean, he's already a success. He doesn't need to do anything for the rest of his life.
No.
If he wanted to move to Bloomington and retire,
he'll never have to buy a meal again in his life.
Yeah, I think he's good. I mean, that's definitely not his personality.
No.
And as we're looking here, yeah, Joe Brady is trending on X, formerly.
Oh, you get hired?
Twitter. So let's see here. Nothing official. It's just that he's interviewing for the Cardinals position today. So
that's a rough spot to win. That's a tough division right now. Like ours is tough too.
God.
Yeah.
Arizona
is a rough spot because it feels like you're out there in the wilderness almost.
I had an insider throw out this hypothetical to me. Tua for Kyler Murray, straight swap.
I mean, it's not the worst idea in the world. I don't know if Arizona would want it because I think his contract's worse than Murray's. So I think that's probably what would kill the deal. If you're in Miami, how many more years does he have on his? If he's got 2 years left or less, I'm okay with Murray because I don't want to be tied to no one for more than 2 seasons because in 2027 we're taking a quarterback in round 1. So it's like I don't need anyone for more than 2 years.
So you think the Dolphins have a top 5 pick in 2027?
I think that draft next year for quarterbacks is going to have like 7 guys going round 1. So I don't even know if they need a top. Look, yes, if you're top 5, it makes it easier, clearly. But you got the quarterback. You got Arch Manning, obviously. I think Legway's going to go in round 1. You got Moore from Oregon. You got the kid from Cincy who just transferred to Texas Tech, probably a round 1 talent. And I know I'm forgetting one. There's a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah, Mateer, probably another one.
Then you got Mateer. He might not be round 1, but who else am I missing?
South Carolina kid could jump up again.
That's the one I'm missing. Lenora Sellers. I mean, and then you got the kid from USC, Mavia. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Like,
we don't have no line. It's brutal.
Yeah, I know, but it's like there's going to be like 5 or 6 quarterbacks in next year's round 1. Now, you don't want to be picking like 7th and just get who's ever left over. But you can always trade, move up and down in this draft. And I don't know how good we're going to be next year. Like, it's far too early. I have to see the roster. I got to see if they do anything in free agency. When he spoke to Wingfield too, John Eric Sullivan goes, in free agency, we want to be intentional with who we sign. I mean, they're just not going to sign people for the sake of signing people. They're going to sign people.
This is the Packer way.
Yes, it's the Packer way. So I think it's going to be a quiet March. Maybe they get Willis, even if they sign him, Willis, and pay him. Like, how many games are you going to win with him? 5, 6, maybe 7 if they're like really good. Plus, their schedule next year is absolutely brutal. The AFC West, good luck there. Then you got the NFC North, good luck there. San Francisco on top of that. Cincinnati, who just beat our balls off like a month ago, good luck there. Like, the schedule next year, twice Bills, twice with the Patriots. The schedule's brutal next year. So even they could play well and win 5 games next year. So I think having a high pick this year is not going to be an issue. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
So I'm saying I think it could be a top 5 pick.
Yeah. And if they can get like Arch Manning or Moore, who I know Moore had a rough game that last game for Indiana, put that aside. Moore was great this year. I'm a little surprised he went back to school. I would have came out if I were him.
I got 7 million reasons why he went back to school, which is
I know, because he's getting paid more at Oregon than he probably would have been getting picked second overall, which is crazy.
Which is interesting that Simpson went into the draft from Bama, because I confirmed at
6.5 mil. Yeah,
it was real. Like, but again, you're talking about signing a 4-year, $20 million guaranteed contract, and ultimately the goal is the NFL.
1 year closer to the next contract. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, like,
Ty Simpson should get on his knees every night and pray that the Rams take him. That means he doesn't have to play next year. Sit behind Matthew Stafford. You're with Sean McVay, and in 2027, maybe you take over from Matthew Stafford.
That
is the perfect spot.
But the Rams are going to pick like 28.
They have Atlanta's pick. It's like 8 or 7. They have a top 10 pick.
Fuck.
Because they traded with Atlanta. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Because Atlanta last year, everyone's like, why you trade next year's first for this edge rusher? He was a very good edge rusher. Hindsight, but I don't think Atlanta thought they'd have a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
And they got Atlanta's pick.
Penix, man. But I think they're a team on the rise. Like, they got some pieces there. It's just a question of.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. So Atlanta won their last 4 games. That pick is 13, so it's a little behind Miami. So they got pick 13, and however they finished this week. Okay, that pick fell out of the top 10 because, man, Atlanta won their last 4. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, here's a question for John Eric that I'm kind of intrigued by. You go back, I believe it was the 2021 draft. You had the number 3 overall pick. It's that whole Trey Lance situation. And then you end up getting 2 picks. And then you take Jalen Waddle, and I believe it was Jalen Phillips. So it's like, if you've got a top 5 pick, do you keep it and take a Jamar Chase and change your franchise? Or do you double down and say, hey, I'm going to get 2 number 1 guys? That's an interesting philosophy question. I don't know.
I'm sure he'd probably say it depends who's on the board. I'm sure, because that's probably what it comes down to. The 2020 draft, though, they were the ones who traded up with Miami a few spots, took Love, and we took Noah Ikbenagany. But because they traded up with us because we already had our quarterback. They're like, they were trying to get ahead of somebody. I forget who. They're like, hey, you guys already got your quarterback. You want to trade with us? And our guy, which made sense, actually. Sure. So they trade up to Glove, and then we went down like 30 spots or so and took Noah. We do have a super chat. I want to read this from Reiner Quavito. Thank you. I hope I said that right. Sorry if I didn't. Willis is better than Tua. Imagine he wins 6-7 games. We don't even need to get in the top 10. I'll prefer to go with yours and suck. That's a lot of the fan. Look, that's fan sentiment, which I get.
That'll never happen.
It'll never happen because you have a new head coach, new GM. They're not going to want to come in here and be like, okay, we're not going to try this first year. We're going to punt. You hired us. We're going to punt. We're not going to try. And plus, they didn't draft Quinn Ewers. They have no emotional ties to Quinn Ewers. I think that's what fans have to like. Yeah, Quinn Ewers for 3 games was okay. It was okay. Some moments were good. Some moments were, it was okay. They have no ties to Quinn Ewers. Great. He'll be here on the team in some capacity, but it's like they don't really care about Quinn Ewers.
Yeah. A question.
Not their guy.
Are you going to have Alec Ingold? Do you need a fullback?
That's probably all depends who they hire, I guess. I don't know.
Right. I mean, like that's a position like that could go away. I talked to Drew Rosenhaus. He said Darren Waller would love to come back. He's hoping to be healthy, but he's like, we don't know what's going on. Like, we don't know who the Dolphins are. So
I would love to get Waller on here because I want to hear this story when he's in the interview. Like, I know he's already said this story, but I have follow-up questions. Trust me, I got follow-up questions.
All right,
when he's in that chair meeting with Mike and Mr. Ross comes barreling in, did he really come barreling in or did he like knock on the door soft? Like, I have so many questions. Just give me a half hour with Darren Waller. I have so many questions.
We can make this happen.
We got to make this happen. Please, Josh.
I'm going to text Drew here when we get done.
All right. Last thing real quick. Games this weekend. AFC one's hurt because what happened with the Broncos quarterback play.
Sucks.
I still say, do I think Sean Payton can coach up a team to win 1 game with a backup quarterback?
Yes.
Yes. Do I think he can do it twice? Not a snowball's chance in hell. But I think he can coach them up at home, wild atmosphere, to be a team who's a good Patriots team. It's not a great team. It's a very good team, though. So I think everyone writing them off, I think, is making a big mistake. I think he can coach them up for 1 week to find a way to win. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think that game's close at least. In the NFC side, that's going to be a dogfight. Seattle, again, wild environment at home. I'd be surprised if they lost. I'd be surprised if they lost. But here's the thing. This game last week they won, which they did look impressive in. Sam Darnold wasn't asked to make one play in that game. This week he might have to make some plays. So that's what gives me a little bit of pause thinking the Rams are alive.
Did they split during the regular season? I forget.
I don't know. I know let me see.
I know that Charbonnet's out the running back.
Yep. But they got a few running backs there. So they got the other guy, Walker. So let's see.
Walker's been great. JSN's been great.
Yep.
Obviously, we've been talking about Kubiak and what he's done.
So week 11, week 11 at the Rams, they lost 21-19.
Yep.
And then week 16 at home in overtime, they won 38-37.
That was that crazy.
So it's two very close games. We're talking 3 points combined in 3 games.
It's going to be a dogfight.
It's going to be a dogfight.
I'm excited. That's going to be a good game. I don't know. I'm excited for this Broncos game. Like, I'm a homer, but I love Nick Bonito. I think he's having a special season. Pat Surtain, love what he brings. And, I mean, this team has a defense. So, Stidham, he's got to be a game manager in this one. Just don't be CJ Stroud. Just don't be CJ Stroud. You got a chance to win. That was wild. I mean,
that was embarrassing.
I
don't know how you come back from that.
You do. You're all. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And it wasn't just that game. Even the week before, he didn't look great the week before either.
I understand no Nico Collins, but I mean, like, gosh, like that was just.
He was just throwing up lame ducks. I mean, just quacking. I mean, that was bad. But okay, I'm with you. I think Rams, Seattle's a coin toss. I will say this: whoever wins that game is going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, 100%.
I don't see either one of these AFC teams beating either one of them on a neutral field.
100%.
They're going to win, and plus they're two West Coast teams. They're going to travel a ton of fans to San Francisco for the game, anyways. That's going to be a home game for them, and I think Sean Payton might surprise people. We'll see.
I will say the Broncos won the Super Bowl in 2016. I think it was 54. What are we, 60 now? Super Bowl 50.
Yeah. Peyton Manning.
That was Peyton
He
Manning.
couldn't throw the ball either. Yeah.
No. And it was in that stadium. It was the year that stadium opened. So maybe some serendipity. I don't know.
It might be because Peyton Manning, that was the end of Peyton. I mean, he could barely throw it either. He was hurt too. And
that defense, though, was
defense. Von Miller was absolutely insane that year. And plus, and that was when they beat Newton. And Newton, I think they lost one game that year, Carolina. And Newton was having the year of years. And the one thing I remember in that game is he fumbled a snap, or he held on and he fumbled, and he wouldn't dive on the ball. I'm like, you're in the Super Bowl. You might never get back here again. Yeah. You didn't dive on a football in the Super Bowl, man. Like, what are you doing? That's the first. Every time I see Cam Newton on
when
TV,
you're 6'5", it's a long way down.
I don't care. You got to jump on. It's the Super Bowl. It's not week 3. It's the Super Bowl.
Man.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow Josh on social media at The Mo's Knows. Check him out on WSVN7. Check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at Dolphins Talk. We'll talk to you again after a while. And as always, when you're out in those streets, when you're on the road driving, please make sure we put an end to highway profanity.